About 2 weeks ago, I received an email from someone who has viewed my video Foundry Myths. When he saw that video, he thought it will be okay to put a crucible that had water in it for an unknown length of time into his furnace. And guess what happened? It went bang and a big chunk broke off. I often put water in my crucibles to measure how much volume is in the crucible and how much metal it will take. But I do not ever leave the water in that crucible. As soon as I've finished, I tip the water out and put the crucible in a warm place to let it dry out. After a melt, I put the crucible in a dry place, but in that time, till I use it for the next time, it can absorb some moisture. But I found in practice they do not absorb enough moisture to cause a problem when they're reheated, and you get the problem of cracking and spalling. So for this experiment, I'm going to use this crucible you see on the screen. I haven't used it for 2 years, so who knows whether it absorbed any moisture or not. There's a bit of a look at it. Now with this experiment I'm going to do something that I have never done before. I am going to put water in the crucible, and then I'm going to tip the water out and then put it into a hot furnace and see what happens. This is what the crucible looks like after it was dunked in water and while it was still dripping wet, put into the furnace. It's still in one piece, but the next test I've got is a lot more severe than that. We'll tip some more water in it. But this time I will leave it there for 1 week. This test is very severe. I would never recommend anyone to do it. When you try this and you want to know the capacity of your crucible, you tip the water out and then you put the crucible in a warm, dry place to make sure that it is dry. It has been 1 week since I've poured the water into the crucible. And as it turns out, the crucibles can be very porous. I'll show you exactly where they are. Around here it's very wet, and underneath the crucible there is a lot of water. As you can see, there's a puddle of water underneath the crucible, so if I'm going to dry out this crucible and use it again, I'm going to have to be very careful on how quickly I do it. I'm now going to use a torch to slowly heat up the crucible and dry it out, and hopefully won't spoil or crack, do some dramatic explosion. Now we'll put the torch into overdrive, put compressed air on it, and we'll give it curry. First part of the experiment worked okay. The crucible is still in one piece, so this time I'll be firing up the furnace and then put the crucible in the furnace, and I'll leave it open and we'll see if we can get the thing to explode. still okay. I've got molten aluminium in it. We'll tip it into an ingot mould. As you can see, crucible is still okay, it's usable, but I would never recommend anyone to try that to put water in there, because you can lose the crucible. Some are worse than others.